And we're on.
We're on.
Woo! Welcome, everyone, to the Rude Barn Podcast.
Welcome. It's good to be back.
Good to be back. We took a little time off for the holiday weekend of the 4th of July. I don't know if anybody's heard about that. It's been around a couple years, and we both kind of took a little time to get away, and now we're kind of back in the saddle, as we like to say.
Yeah, little vacations happened and stuff, and we got to relax, regroup, and here we are.
Yep. So you have now joined the Rude Barn Podcast. We talk about the current events, anything that strikes our fancy, really, and anything that is of interest, from paranormal to UFO stuff, really to anything that's kind of going on. And oddly enough, there's been something that you probably haven't seen much about since last weekend.
No one's talking about it.
Nobody's talking about it all. So we don't want to rehash the same crap that everybody's heard for the last week. We will kind of go over a lot of the same stuff. But apparently, if you haven't heard, there was apparently an assassination attempt on President Trump at his rally in Butler, Pennsylvania. What is it? A suburban outpost of Pittsburgh,
like a little farming outpost or something like that. Yeah.
What's it called? Suburb, something like that. Mm-hmm. And apparently there was some issues going on with that, and there's lots of questions being raised by a lot of people about what's going on. We're going to get into that as well as other interesting things that have popped up recently in the next couple of days. Not conspiracy theories, but stuff that's quite interesting that makes you go, that's weird.
And makes you kind of question. And that's and
that's kind of the theme.
Creed. Yeah, question everything, baby.
Question everything. This is a shirt you can get on the our Etsy store, etsy.com/shop/the Rude Barn. We'll bring up some shots of the store so you can see what we have in there. We also have the Walking Cadaver shirt with Joe Biden, the walking cadaver. So that's available online. And I've had a lot of interest in it. They were like, oh my God, that's awesome. It's like, well, go to the store, get some shirts. So, but I think we're going to first start with a thing that kind of happened this morning from our good friends at Microsoft. Apparently, there's been a global outage, Rudy. Have you heard about the global outage from our friends at Microsoft? What's going on with that?
I heard they had a rookie on the boards today and fucked it up a little bit. Yeah. I've been reading a ticker on it on my on my news feed, but I haven't dug into it a ton. All I know is I have some family that was going to fly and they couldn't fly, and I got a text at like 6 o'clock this morning and said, "Hey, can I come over to your house because we're at the airport and we can't fly." Apparently, there was a global outage. Microsoft.
That sounds like that's worldwide.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Very, very interesting.
Yeah.
And
so we've heard a little about it, but I don't know a lot. Have you heard anything more on it, or what it's about?
I haven't. I heard that they're scrambling to get it fixed. I'm not sure if it's fixed already. I was just talking to my brother-in-law, and he said they still haven't got the flights figured out. So, but everybody's
as of the time of this recording, you mean?
Probably an hour before this recording. So, and that's
like 1 p.m. Mountain Time.
Yeah, about 1 p.m. Mountain Time. On Friday.
Pacific for those of you keeping track.
So, but my thing is that is this a little foreshadowing? Is this one of those things to where they kind of dip their toes in the water just to kind of see how we're going to react? Because there's been a ton of talk, and there's been a ton of speculation about what happens if the internet goes down, what happens if phones go down, what happens if this happens and this happens, and we lose our technology, I guess, footing.
Right.
And we're kind of reduced back to, the olden days, or even worse.
Caveman
days. And
that's too far back.
I mean, those things have been scares for a while. Those have been scares for war, and they've been scares for this. And and then the COVID, and then, and whatever they want to throw at us. But, it just seems like with everything going on, why wouldn't they do it now? I mean, why wouldn't they like a
Wait
test
for a
run?
month or two,
No,
or
and it was a test run. Well,
right,
the thing is, they had to get the press off of Trump. You
right.
know what I mean? Because he,
He's a martyr, really. If you except he
yeah,
didn't die. Except he
e
didn't die. Thank
exactly.
goodness. Thank goodness. I mean, that would
And
have been horrible.
his poll numbers are going absolutely insane. And
Yeah.
then his speech at the RNC, I don't know if you saw that, but it was a little long-winded, but I think it was good.
Hour
And
and
I
a
think
half or something. Yeah.
yeah, I think it was good for him to kind of stand up there and show everybody that he has the gumption, and still he has he has his faculties together to
Hmm.
stand up and give a speech that long. Because I watched bits and pieces of it. I watched probably the solid like first 35, 40 minutes.
Right.
And then I was like, okay, I'm gonna go do something else and just kind of have this on in the background. And then I had to leave, so I was just kind of like, okay, I'll catch the rest of this on YouTube or whatever later.
Right.
So I got basically the last half of it early this morning on YouTube, and so watched the rest of it. But like I said, I think they had to pull the press off of him a little bit because
Right.
he's just getting too much information, and also
They couldn't
the
counter it all. Yeah.
absolute failure of the FBI, or I mean of the Secret
Secret
Service.
Service. Yeah.
They had to get the press off of that too.
Right.
So
Right.
why this is a perfect time to maybe throw another little bone at us
Yeah.
and see what we're gonna do. I mean,
Yeah.
number one, to get the press off, and then see if people are gonna freak the fuck out, right?
Little smoke and mirrors is what you're
Mhm.
talking about. Like distraction over
Lot
here, but look over here as we, don't worry about what I'm pulling out of my pocket over here.
and
Yeah.
it's not
It's
the
awfully
first time
suspicious.
they've done this, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
You're
we've
right.
seen this. We've seen
Awfully
this movie before, haven't we?
suspicious.
Yeah. Yeah.
We've
Yeah.
seen this, dude. What are you? You're mid 40s. I'm mid 40s. We've seen this movie so many times
Uh-huh.
in the short
Yeah.
time that we've been alive, and not even
Yeah.
the short time that we've been alive. The short time that
Last
we
few years.
well, the short time that we've kind of been able to kind of see and react and
Yeah.
to the news and current events and stuff like that.
Right.
So, I mean, and what's that been like the last 20 years, maybe? You know what I
Yeah.
mean? If that, I mean, out of college.
Yeah.
So it's kind of like,
A lot of coincidental shit going on.
yeah, and
Yeah.
they just keep doing it. So,
And I
yeah,
don't believe in coincidences anymore. I used to as a
either.
naive child back about 20 plus years ago and beyond. Oh man, that just seems like so coincidental. I was like, no, no, no.
I've always
Nothing is
questioned
coincidental.
coincidence. I've never believed in coincidence. It's just not
So
it's not a thing.
so why today do we have the Microsoft global outage? Maybe you're right. Maybe it's the distraction to keep the Trump out of the news and the RNCs. I guess they did really. I kind of only watched only highlights, but they kind of did a kick-ass program. Really got people together and united.
They were
Um,
fired up. Yeah.
yeah, got
Hogan
you
came out
fired up.
ripped his shirt off. That was fucking awesome.
If you've got Trump derangement syndrome, no matter what they do, it's not good enough. I mean, it's just we'll get into this too here in a second, but this is very interesting, and I'm going to bring this up. This is a news article from the New York Times. I don't know if you ever heard of them. They just started a couple years ago.
Little
Yeah, they're up and coming little newspaper joint online now. But they it's like, well, what we know about the global Microsoft outage. I mean, that's pretty good to get this story out immediately. So obviously they've had a few hours to put this together. They got it all out. I don't know, what was that, 5 a.m. or something? 5 minutes long is what that is. I can't read that stuff. But anyway, 11:20 a.m. Eastern. So about 9:20, 9:30 a.m. This story broke. What is going on with it? So basically, from what they're saying in this article, it's across the world, thus the global thing, I'm guessing.
Yeah.
Critical businesses and services, including airlines, hospitals, train networks, TV stations, and such, retail shops, banks also were disrupted this morning. with a global tech outage affecting Microsoft users. Microsoft, it sounds so familiar. Where do I know that name from? Anyway, in many countries, flights have been grounded. Oddly enough, you know that firsthand from your friends or family or whatever you mentioned
Yeah,
earlier.
some family, yeah.
And then they weren't able to make credit card payments. They said they were going to resolve this within hours. Who knows? But anyway, this is what they're saying is what happened. A series of outages rippled across the globe. I'm not sure how this happens, but okay.
Yeah. Was it
Um,
following a tornado or was it following a tsunami?
I think it was following a Sharknado. I think is what it was. Uh,
Or a
something
Gatesnado?
happened. Something, yeah, Gates NATO. I wouldn't be surprised. So we have global information display login screen. There, the problem affecting the majority of services caused by a flawed update by Crowdstrike. Now, did we do any more research into Crowdstrike and what they really are? I know they're a cybersecurity firm, as they're talking about, based here in America, and they're intended to protect users from hackers. But what about protect users from themselves, or these companies from themselves? Microsoft also said that they had earlier outage affecting U.S. users of Azure, its cloud service systems. Some users may have been affected by both. Even if the fix was sent out by CrowdStrike, some systems were still affected in the U.S. Okay, so that's interesting. So all of this shit goes out somehow. I still don't know how they're doing this update that goes across the whole network that affects the whole freaking world all at the same time. Isn't that scary as shit that something like this can happen and affect everybody instantaneously around the world? Isn't that something?
Well, I guess that's kind of been my fear with this whole putting everything online. You're right.
Right.
Your all your credit cards, all your payment stuff, your
Medical information,
medical
your
information. Yeah, all
driver's
this kind of
license
stuff.
information.
Well, and stuff that you need, you know what I
Right.
mean? And stuff that's going to be, compromised. And I've always had a hard time with that and thinking of that, you know what I mean? And all the global banking systems, so
Oh
your
God,
money's
yeah.
tied up. I mean,
Your
it's
accounts can get frozen or not even be able to be accessed. And let's say
exact.
you gotta make a payment for something immediately, or else who knows what emergency, something that's going on. Your mortgage payments due, but you can't get that transaction sent, because what if this isn't just a couple hours it takes to fix it?
Well, the sad thing is, so I have a couple, financial institutions that I, pay all my bills through and all that kind of stuff.
Right.
And thankfully, all of them except one accepts cash. And dude, I gotta tell you, I've been cashing my
Cash is king.
checks
Oh
and
yeah.
putting it in cash,
Yep.
walking it into the financial institution, paying over the counter.
Yeah.
There's one, but you figure, you know what I mean? Your mortgage, like, or some of these people don't take cash payments anymore. You have to pay online. You know what I
No,
mean? They're forcing you to.
it's
And so I
ridiculous.
guess, those kind of things, hopefully, like our utility services and shit like that don't go, completely online, because then we're screwed. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, they should still be
Something
able
like
to take
this
cash,
happens,
a check, something.
something. Yeah.
Yeah.
And
Well,
it's
and
sad.
that
It's scary that it's going away.
yeah, and that's the thing. I wonder if anybody who has half a brain in their head is going to sit there and think, wait a minute, this should be a little wake up call. We've got everything centralized with this Microsoft Azure network or whatever they might be called around the world in different places. I mean, you're dealing with hospitals, banks, airports, train stations, transportation, retail stores. You go in to try to make a payment to buy this, that, or the other, that you're out and you can't do it. So what are you going to do? Sit there, and then a lot of these people won't take cash, like you're saying. Try going to some of the local movie theaters, like the megaplex theaters that we have here. They don't take cash.
Like, you can barely even buy tickets at the theater anymore. You have to buy them
Yeah.
online. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
I've had places like that go up and try to buy a ticket, and they're like, "Oh, well, you can't buy it here, but here's a QR code, and you
Right.
can buy it right here while you stand in line." And I'm like,
Yeah.
are you gotta be kidding me right now, right? No way.
I was just talking to a friend earlier. We were talking about that whole thing. How are we just like, oh my God, I cannot wait to go back to the old like Motorola flip phone that you can call, text, and it has a small camera on it, which you can put a decent camera in now. And that's it. I can't get on the internet. I can't make, all this shit's not tracked on my phone. I don't want to get emails. I don't want to get, I can't wait for a time where I don't have to worry about doing that. But the rate things are going, everything's going. You got a QR code for this. You got your boarding pass on your phone. You got your medical information can be accessed. You don't think people can hack QR codes. You don't think people can hack your phone. Look at the RFID blockers that you need to get for your wallet and your phone and everything else now, because people can just walk by and scan what's ever in your pocket and get that information. Technology is wonderful until it's not. Until it's used for nefarious purposes.
Well, I mean, I think the whole thing is nefarious if you look at it in a larger scale, because really, this is a progression of handcuffing us to whatever they want to do,
right,
to us and with us and whatever. Because once they have that stronghold on us, what are we going to do? We're at their mercy. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's going to get us used to doing it this way, and you can't do it the old-fashioned way anymore, because like you're saying, you can't even accept cash. What are you talking about, people? Come on, this is ridiculous. And the COVID thing, where you can't be touching money because that'll transfer COVID. No, it's not. I mean, come on. Yes, money is dirty as shit.
Well, and even but I mean,
but still, come on. Really, how many people get sick from? Come on.
Yeah, from cash. And they were, but I listened to a program and that on Rumble called Two Mics Live, and they're really great. And but one of the people on there, his name's Dr. Mike Schwartz, and he has his own show every morning. And I was listening to that this morning, and he was talking about the COVID thing, about the COVID days. And he was an advocate of don't get the jab. The information's not there. Don't get the jab.
Smart
And he's a doctor, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And he was telling his patients, do not get it and do not wear the mask because they don't work for this.
But was he the right kind of doctor? That's the question.
Oh yeah, and that's the thing.
No, because he wasn't a Fauci doctor. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, and that's the thing. He wasn't fooled or anything like that.
Yeah.
But he mentioned a time when they were like, they wouldn't let you into certain restaurants, certain establishments, doctors' offices, stuff like that, without your COVID card. Well, come back when you have your COVID card, and
hey, it's none of your business, assholes.
Right? And that's kind of that whole time is mind blowing. And I don't want to go too far down the conspiracy theory lane, but at the same time, you have that thing to where, what is it going to be next? You know what I mean?
Right.
I have to accept a chip in my wrist to be able to buy groceries.
To the fucking
you know what I mean? I mean, that seems a little far off, but is it that far off?
No, they're already doing it, dude. They're already doing it.
I know that people are doing it, and I'm like, that if that cannot be the standard, because I will absolutely refuse that and just go live in a fucking compound somewhere and say keep out and shoot my guns at them. You know what I mean?
And everybody should be refusing that. I mean, I'm so sick and tired of this. Well, it's so convenient. All you got to do is put your wrist up to the thing and let it read your thing. You know what? I also have this. I also have a wallet that I can pull my credit card out and have it tapped. And it's bad enough we're getting tracked by everything that we buy on our credit cards. But luckily, at this point, at least, as far as we still know, the credit card companies are the only ones that keep that information and don't share it with our government entities. So they don't know what we're purchasing unless they get like some sort of warrant or whatever for
and it's
which is how it should fucking work.
None of their business. And I mean, the thing that's stupid is people, it's so convenient. Look, I just have to put my wrist up. You don't remember Auschwitz?
Oh yeah.
I mean, come on,
you got your tattoo that had your number on it.
Exactly. You don't remember that? You don't think that that's what they're trying to do?
That's because it never existed. The apocalypse, the Holocaust. That
Oh,
also never existed.
never
So
existed, right?
you need to understand that, Rudy, that you can't just, this shit didn't happen. So no, of course I don't remember it. People need to learn their
Right.
history. All right, let's finish up with this last little thing here. Who's to blame for this shit? Mr. Kurtz. And said
Mr.
Crowdstrike
Kurtz.
had sent out a system
Whoa.
update that had a bug in it that caused issues for Microsoft users. Again, are you people not looking at the big picture that if an update is sent out that has a bug in it, and how many more bugs could be created that go across that can interrupt a global marketplace in all these major industries, from transportation to banking to retail to you name it? And this is not scaring the shit out of the potential of how bad this could possibly be. Have you ever had your power go out in the middle of summer and your air conditioning is off during the day and you're
Dude,
sweltering because you can't even turn a fan on to stay cool?
yeah.
You gotta go the old fan. Oh my god, I gotta get a fan, and fan yourself is the only way to stay cool.
You
Have
gotta
you
go
ever
fill
had
it.
have you ever had your internet go out, but the power is still on and you can't get on the internet and either watch TV, Netflix, Prime, whatever, or surf the internet or anything like that because you have no internet connection
You can't even
and
get the news. And
you
how
can't
many
get the
people
news?
have radios with just a little radio?
Yeah.
Well, it's a two-way with
Even
the
the hand
AM
crank
FM.
one would be great. Yeah.
Yeah, but I mean, I've got it in my apocalypse. Oh, I've got one in my apocalypse pack,
Yeah.
but at the same time, I mean, people don't have those sitting on their counters anymore. They don't have them in their rooms anymore.
Well, this could
They don't
never
have it,
happen.
yeah, they don't have them in their living room
Yeah.
anymore. You know what I mean? With the record player and the 4 foot tall speakers, they don't have that anymore.
Right.
And that was the way that a lot of times, when stuff like this happened, people were getting their news.
Yeah.
You know?
And I don't know if there's enough people who are getting. I think there's a lot of smart people like us. We like to pretend we're smart. Of course, we're not really that smart. But anyway, but I think we kind of ask the questions because we question everything. Because why now? Why did they have to send this out on a Friday? Why couldn't they send this update out? I don't know, Sunday night,
Or even
you
Sunday
know,
morning, you know
or
what I
Sunday
mean?
morning or something
Where
where, all this
yeah,
shit. But
where the 9 to
why?
5 weren't affected this hard, you know?
But yeah, and why are the airlines and the banks and all this all hooked up through this same hub? You got a hub that's where they're updating, and then it goes out to the banks, to the airlines, to the retail shop, to whatever, however it works. Okay, that's a simplistic little view of this whole thing. Why
Mhm.
is it we have this centralized hub where you just attack the hub, you blow this thing up, and it destroys everything else that's connected to it? That makes no sense to me. It's like our power grid. There's
Yeah.
2 or 3 main power grids across the US, and you hack into it or you drop a bomb on each one and the power grid goes out all across the country. No air conditioning, no refrigeration, no way to get the internet or anything. We're screwed. You don't need to fly into buildings anymore. You just blow up the power grid. And that, I'm not giving anybody any ideas. This is not a new thing, people. I'm not giving the terrorists an idea, but this could happen. Is this a precursor? Is this something that could be this? I'm sorry, this could be potentially horrific for the world. Shit like this.
Well, the thing that is scary is that something like this, they weren't afraid to do it. And I
Right.
guess too is you look at the fact that like um this is a professional, right? And he's putting out an update. Why wasn't that update checked and rechecked and triple checked and quadruple checked and all this kind of thing for
Right.
bugs before it went out? I mean, that's your job, dude. You know what
Yeah.
I'm saying? I
Right.
mean, we we do it, you know what I mean? We spell check and then we go in and clean up our vector art and we do all this and we do all that and we do that and then we send it off for proof. No, you got to it comes back and back and back and forth until it's absolutely perfect. I
Yeah.
don't know how if you are I mean, obviously he's top tier, in
Well, should
in
be. Yeah.
the
It needs to be. Yeah.
Yeah, and the software, business, and you're putting out an update with a bug in it. Now that makes me think,
Something nefarious going on here, maybe.
it's maybe told to leave the bug in by somebody, maybe a superior, maybe
Maybe.
maybe a parent company,
Yeah.
maybe
Maybe cause the problem and miraculously have the solution that would cost an arm and a leg for people to, hey, you want the fix to the thing we screwed up? You got to pay up the wazoo to get back online.
dude, I bet
Is
you
that a possibility? I don't know.
I'm gonna throw this out there. I bet
Okay.
you somehow, some way, that company is connected to BlackRock.
To which one?
BlackRock? Oh, they don't exist either, right?
BlackRock. Now that's interesting because that also ties with the next story we're talking about as well.
Yes, it does. Yes,
I
it does.
like your segue there, Tiger.
You like that?
Yeah, I like that.
I'll just
Well,
I'll just underhand him to you, brother, and you can knock him out of the park.
I appreciate it. We'll do all that. So let's kind of maybe move on to that next story since we're talking about it. BlackRock. How coincidental. They're another scary little institution that's
Outfit.
going on that
Mhm.
owns the world, apparently. BlackRock and Vanguard and State Street are the three biggest financial investment groups in the world, who all have shares and stakes and holdings of various degrees in various, and when I say various, I mean many, lots of companies, large organizations, large corporations, and such.
So many.
And
Aren't they working on a stock market for just them?
I haven't heard that, but
Yeah,
I wouldn't be surprised.
that's
They've
a
got the
thing.
money to finance it. That's for damn sure.
Yeah.
So they're a multi-trillion-dollar investment group who owns a lot of real estate, buying up a lot of real estate. So people can't own homes. You can only rent it from them. Remember, you will own nothing and be happy. Thank you, Klaus Schwab, you Nazi piece of shit. I'm glad you're stepping down, but your underling who's coming up in the ranks is even worse than you are, and he is just a worse piece of shit out there as well. But we'll get into that at another time as well. All right, let's talk about our little BlackRock tie that we're talking about, and that's the Trump assassination. We're gonna bring up a little photo here of our good friend. She's so good at her job. I mean, it's just stellar.
You can
Everything that
tell
she's
by
been
the
able to.
interview she is just so good at her
Oh,
job.
she's awesome. The head of the Secret Service. I believe she was probably a DEI hire, and I believe she was tied to the Bidens in one way or the other, where she was on the detail for Jill, Dr. Jill, not a real doctor.
Yeah.
I believe, and then that's how she got appointed as a diversity, inclusion, and equity. I call it DIE because that's really what it is, not DEI.
Yeah.
And so here we go. So to sum up, parents were reporting the shooter, this Thomas Crooks, and why they always use the high school picture of him when he was a freshman or whatever. Little innocent little kid with a freaking acne on his lip and cold sore or whatever the hell it is with his little glasses. Oh, he can't hurt a fly, but he's 20 years old now, long hair. Just been indoctrinated. Oddly enough, going back to the BlackRock thing, he was in a BlackRock commercial.
That was claim to fame, basically. Yeah.
What? Yeah. He was in a BlackRock commercial. I don't necessarily have that. I have that footage somewhere. We'll find it somewhere and we'll put it up there. But right now, I'm just going to talk real quickly about the Secret Service agent who's talking about Thomas Crooks. Why we give him any publicity, I don't know. But I think he was a patsy. I think he was the fall guy for this whole thing. But that's just a conspiracy theory. I'm just saying there's a possibility that this could be it.
Yeah.
So if you all watch the footage of the assassination attempt, and we all have 24/7 and probably ad nauseum, we're all just like, okay, Jesus, what else could happen? Enough with this shit. But no, you know what? There are a few more things that are very interesting potential ties that make things even more suspicious.
Mm-hmm.
So the lack of Secret Service detail on Trump was telling.
Yeah.
They had the B team, possibly even the C team.
It was more like the C team. Yeah.
Probably the C team. I mean, we've all seen the pictures of Sally, Secret Service Sally, trying to put her gun in her holster and missing it 27 times, and then turn around. Oh, no, I'm good. No, we're good. And then tried it again, and then the other one looking around like she has no clue where she's at, what's going on. And then the third one, God knows what she was doing, trying to get everything in the car. So the detail was lacking. That's suspicious. Trump had apparently, and it's been confirmed now by Dan Bongino, if you know who he is, former Secret Service agent. He's on his own podcast and radio show, talking about this and just saying this is pathetic. This is the most incompetent Secret Service detail he's ever seen in his entire life. And I have to agree with him, and I'm not an expert, but I can tell you, you had the freaking Three Stooges here. You had the Keystone Cops running around with their heads cut off like chickens. It's just unbelievable. They covered him up great at the end there, except for the little midget girl who was trying to cover a 6'3" guy, and she's 5'2".
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, you have to have the appropriate response, appropriate people in place for the, if what you're covering is somebody who's 5'2", fine, you can put your 5'2" girl on it. But if you got somebody who's 6'3", you better get 6'3", 6'4", 6'5", 6'8", 6'10" guys around him who will cover him and make sure he's safe. The stupidest thing, although it's iconic, yes, the stupidest thing Trump did was stand up there, put his fist up and yell, "Fight, fight, fight," when he didn't know if there was still another shooter, didn't know what's going on. The Keystone Cops around him trying to figure out what the hell they're going to do and trying to get him off the stage. You look back at the Reagan attempted assassination and how they handled that, and it was a little bit different area and situation where he wasn't on a stage, had to go downstairs and then into the vehicle, but they were on that guy in like 2 freaking seconds. Put his head down, put his in the limo. He did get hit and went to the hospital. This was like, oh my God, what are we doing? How long? I mean, they should have stayed on him on the stage until they for sure, and maybe they did know that the threat was over, but they didn't. Because now there might be a second shooter, and now there might be other things going on in this whole thing.
Well, and they were talking about, and I heard a story where they were talking about how the sniper he had him in his sights for like 2 minutes, and
the Secret Service sniper on the sloped roof.
On the
that sloped of a roof there, I think,
and he had he had him in his sights, and he was waiting for the okay. Now, and I've talked about this before on a different cast, and they say that no, any threat is a threat that you can take out at any time. Well, apparently not, because he was
told to stand down or wait or something.
Yeah, he was told to wait, and I heard this story the other day, and I brought it up, and it was kind of poo-pooed and said I was wrong, because and that's fine, you know what I mean? But as it unfolds, this is actually sounding like what happened, and my question is too, is why did he get off? What did he get off? 4 shots, 3 shots?
No, it was like 6 or 7 shots, 8 maybe, somewhere in there. I saw a 3D reenactment of the trace of the shots, and I think I saw there were like 7 or 8, give or take.
And then it took how many shots for the Secret Service sniper to kill him? 1?
Well, let's see. If you're doing a single trigger pull, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. What is that? A second and a half, 2 seconds, give or take.
Yeah, maybe like 10 seconds. Like, I don't understand why
it take him that long.
He was
10
able
seconds?
to.
That's a long.
Well, like, he's got him in his sights for like 2 minutes.
Right.
He's standing. He's told to stand down.
Say there's a threat. The threat we saw earlier.
Yeah, the kid gets off, half a dozen or more rounds before he's put down. That I don't understand.
Why did they allow him to shoot? Yeah.
And I saw a story too today where they've fired him. I don't. This isn't confirmed, but they've relieved him of his duty. This sniper.
That
That's
sniper. Okay.
yeah, and yeah, they relieved him of his duty and fired him because he disobeyed a direct order.
Yeah.
And that the order that he disobeyed was to stand down on neutralizing this threat. Can you believe that?
Well, we're
Like I
living in
said,
clown world, dude.
I I
Tell me.
I saw that on X. I and we've seen a lot of things on a lot of different sources.
Yeah.
So like I said, I'm not positive that's a thing, but it looked like it was coming from a reputable source that then went to X. So look out for that story in the next few days here, guys, and see,
Yeah.
that may be a thing and it may not be a thing, but if it is a thing, can you fucking believe that?
This is the most inept response, the most incompetent response I think I've seen. People want to say this was set up, it was staged. Oh, give me a break. Are you freaking kidding me?
Those
Staged?
those people are so
I mean,
they're
it is unfathomable that people would think this. Of course, if you have Trump derangement syndrome, you're going to think that. If you hate Trump so badly, of course you're going to think that. But if you listen to, and I'm going to bring up this guy. He's a former sniper who was doing a interview on Fox News, and he's been on many other stations as well, like MSNBC and CNN and stuff like that. It just happened to get this clip here of him talking about how this in the real world, not clown world we live in, would never have happened, And so, I'm going to bring him up. Let's listen to what he's talking about briefly. I'm not going to play the whole 4 or 5 minutes on this whole thing, but he talks about this real quick, and it's quite interesting and kind of gives you a better perspective. I don't know what happened. I'm not an expert. I'm listening to experts and I'm getting information. We're getting information and we're putting things together and we're asking questions.
yeah.
Why
I mean,
did this happen?
this is a huge puzzle that's just been dumped on the floor, and all of us are trying to really put these pieces together. Obviously,
Yeah.
there are people that, that know more than we did, but we're asking the questions, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
We
Well,
question everything.
it's like we talked about. We knew this something like this would be the next step they would take because they tried to impeach him. Russia collusion. Well, they found out 4 years Mueller was doing this investigation, didn't find jack on this whole thing. Figured out, no, it wasn't Russian collusion. It wasn't Russia collusion. Then they, what else did they try to do after they impeached him twice on a couple of things? Then they tried to go after him for January 6th, saying he was trying to incite an erection. I mean, I'm sorry, insurrection. Thanks, Chuck Schumer, for that. I wonder where your mind's at. And then they tried to go after him for the documents. And now there's a few other things in between here as well, but I'm just going over the major ones that popping in my head right now. Then you had the documents, the classified documents. He's allowed to have them. He's the president of the United States, not the vice president, Joe. When you were VP and senator and you happen to have classified documents, you're not even allowed to have them until you're done with your term. Okay, but you have them in your locked garage right by your Corvette in boxes that are falling apart in a locked garage. Let's say locked garage.
Yeah.
And then at the Biden Penn Center and then other places. I mean, you're not even supposed to have them. Okay, but then they tried to stick this whole Stormy Daniels thing. Well, it was they turned something that was past the statute of limitations, somehow turned a misdemeanor calculation of marking something down in your accounting as a wrong thing, which it wasn't. It was legal fees because an NDA, whether he or you think that he actually slept with the Stormy or not, is beside the point. And NDAs say, you know what, I don't want to take you to court to try to settle. We're going to settle this. You keep your mouth shut. You don't say anything about it. Doesn't matter if I slept with you or not. Even if I didn't, and you're trying to sue me, I'm still trying to say I don't want to litigate this thing.
Right.
Shut the fuck up. Here's your money. Keep quiet. Well, she broke that. That's why he sued her back, and she actually owes him money now. And then they're trying to bring this Alvin Bragg, piece of shit, Letitia James, piece of shit. These people are there to try to get him. None of that shit worked. They threw out the documents case in Florida now. Then you had the whole Fannie Willis. That's right. I'm going to call her Fannie, not Fannie. Fannie Willis whole fiasco in Georgia, and all that shit. None of this shit worked. None of this shit stayed. And Trump actually got more popular. The mugshot. They raided Mar-a-Lago. Don't forget that. After that was,
I mean, it goes on and on and on. I mean, we could spend hours talking about the bullshit that they're trying to pin on him.
Giving them all the documents. You want the documents? This is in February last year, 2 years ago. Here's all the documents in February. Well, we didn't get enough, so in August they came and raided. I mean, this is just ridiculous. And then Letitia James he's overvalued his Mar-a-Lago property at 18 million. Oh my God, no, bitch. That property is probably worth at least 10, 20, 30 times that. If you've ever seen anything of Mar-a-Lago, just the property alone is probably worth 20 to 30 million just for the ground, not the house and everything. Anyway, all of that. Everybody kind of knows what's going on with all that. The January 6th stuff didn't stick because people knew it was staged by an ABC, movie producer. The whole thing was staged. You had one person who was the supposed Republican in Cheney. In what's her first name again? I've gone blank, dude. I swear she's so not important to me that I can't even remember. Anyway, but she tried to pull this shit. She's not a Republican. She was all after Trump and all this shit. So the next step, and Tucker Carlson actually called this out a while ago, and we all kind of knew, yeah, you're right. The only next thing they have to take him out is an assassination.
Yeah, and people have been saying that for at least a year now. You know what I mean?
Oh,
and just calling it. I mean, and it was so
not surprising.
Yeah, it's so not surprising.
Yeah.
I mean, thank God he didn't, actually get assassinated. But
oh my God.
But you're right. I mean, they're so backed into a wall, and this was probably like their very last on the list, and they're in their little secret meetings and stuff, and it's like, okay, does anybody else have anything that we can try to do to get this guy just out of the scene? And some guy probably whispered in the back, "Oh, we could assassinate him." He's like, "Oh, okay, we'll put that on the list.
Yeah, get him in jail.
But we have to put that very last, because it'll look way too obvious if we try to do it now or during the campaign."
And don't you think
like that?
But, they're going to try it again and again until they maybe succeed? Unfortunately, that's the scary part and the pissed off part of this whole thing should be, and everybody should be upset about this.
The scary part is, like, I don't think they're going to try it again with a gun. With a shooter. I think they're going to try it again with a car, or do something to his plane or something like that. And it's going to be tragic, whatever. If they go to the extent to try it again, there's going to be my I guess, my thoughts is it's going to be not a massive loss of life, but it's not going to be 2 people injured, 1 person dead, and Trump shot in the ear. It's going to be like, his staff or his family or something like that are all going to be with him when they do it. Yeah, it could be a bomb. And it's going to be a tragic loss of life. It's not just going to be Trump. And you notice, though, where are all the gun people? Where are they at?
All the gun control people who are saying,
the gun control people. Where are they?
Isn't it interesting that when you try to take out your opponent, your competition, your candidate that happens to be the one you hate, all of a sudden it's okay that he was shooting this gun. And you had some guy talk about AK, or an AR-15. Okay, hey, dipshit, it is the tool being used. Okay, it's not the fault of the tool, it's the fault of the person using the tool. And like I've said before, a hammer can build things and a hammer can destroy things. It just depends on how you use it or who's using it.
Agreed.
So,
And they're so passionate about no guns, no guns, take their guns
yeah,
away. There's no need for guns. We don't need guns, and we can no guns.
yeah, yeah.
But
It's a bunch
they're
of
silent now.
hypocritical bullshit.
Nobody's saying anything.
Yeah,
I mean, you would think their
hardly hear it.
passion
Yeah.
would bring them out of the woodwork, you know what I mean? And
Oh yeah.
they'd be staging rallies, get the guns away.
Yeah.
You don't see Trump's people doing that. You don't
No.
see the right doing that. And
No.
now the left is like, oh shit,
But
we
they'll
can't
but
talk
here's how
about guns right now.
here's how deranged some of these people. I mean, I was just talking about there's about 80% of the population, left and right, that kind of agree upon, nobody wants like, you know what? I don't want to take out Biden. I don't want to take out Trump and assassinate him. I don't want to take out our political enemies. I don't want to sit here and say, you know what, I disagree with you and your politics and what you think and your morals or blah, 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 whatever it is. We can still have a beer at the end of the day and still be friends and family. There's the 10% freaks on each side that do this shit. And I'm going to play a video here after we listen to our former sniper talk about the ineptness and how he thinks that, you know what, this is not just ineptitude and incompetence. This could be something that's more planned. And to hear some of these people talk about how, oh, damn it, they missed, and God, don't miss next time, like Kevin Glass from Tenacious D with Jack Black in Australia saying that shit.
Man,
What
that
a
was
douchebag.
horrible, man.
I mean,
That was horrible.
what is wrong with people? Where is your morality and your humanity? And it's like, you know what? I may hate your guts as a political opponent. I may, all this, but I don't want you dead.
Yeah.
What is wrong with you?
Yeah.
Seriously, what the fuck is wrong with you if you're gonna so I didn't mean to pop that loud, but I'm pissed with this shit.
The sad thing is too is they're talking about we need to unite. We need to we need the unity and
Come together.
in the two parties and stuff like that. But the problem is you got people like this that think this way and will advocate this way, that there's no unifying. You know what I mean? There's no getting them together because these people are brainwashed so bad to the fact
their little cult. Yes.
Yeah.
But they call us in a cult. That's the funny thing about it.
They wish they wouldn't have missed.
Or
we'll get them next time. Are you wow.
What is wrong with you? What is wrong with you that is how you think, that somebody that you disagree with politically or any other reason that you have so much hatred for really no other reason than you've been spoon-fed,
indoctrinated,
these points about Trump. And I'm not saying he's perfect. I'm not saying he's this, that, and the other, but I think the media has certainly pushed all of this narrative about anything negative that he does, that he's Hitler. Now, I'm not saying he hasn't said things the other way around, but when you have the whole media behind you and the whole government, Pelosi's and Schumer's and all these assholes and Biden talking about how he's a threat to democracy. If he gets in again, the world is over. We're going to, the sky is falling, Chicken Little. I mean, it's just he's Hitler. He's literally Hitler. No, he's not literally Hitler. Stop misusing the word literally, you dumbass.
Yeah.
You have people like this Thomas Crooks coming up and thinking that, you know what, I'm going to save the world from this guy.
Yeah.
And I'm going to shoot him.
You know what? And I would think that he probably thought that. He probably thought that he was doing.
He's the savior for the Democrat Party.
Yeah. And that's the sad thing is that he probably really thought that. And another thing too is like, so the January 6th people, they had their phone records within hours. Maybe not even hours.
Yeah.
It took them 3 days to open this kid's phone, and we still haven't seen what's in this kid's phone.
Right.
I am dying to see what is in this kid's phone because I know almost for a fact in my heart that this kid was indoctrinated and he was brainwashed by somebody.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Oh,
somebody in particular, somebody specific. Because a 20-year-old kid doesn't watch the news that much. A 20-year-old kid isn't going to be sitting on CNN watching all this bullshit that they're talking about Trump. A 20-year-old kid isn't going to be doing that kind of stuff. You know what I mean?
Right.
So somebody had to have gotten to him, and somebody had to say, "Hey, look, we got to do something about it. We can be the saviors. We can do this." And just feeding him full of this crap. And for to brainwash a kid that's young, or that's that young, is it just goes to show, there are still sick and evil people in this world, and some of them are sitting in fucking office. You know what I mean?
I want to circle back, Saki, to this whole thing. Okay, I want to circle back, Saki, to that point about this kid being indoctrinated and going through all this stuff. After we listen to a couple of things on the sniper again, because I want to talk about how did this kid get up on the roof after being seen, after the cops and the Secret Service were told, "Hey, he's there," and this all comes back together again with what we're doing. And how is it that he wasn't taken out? There weren't people on, Secret Service on the building, and don't give me that slope shit that Kimberly Cheadle, you
that was
dumbass who needs to resign or at least be fired. But she won't, because Mayorkas won't fire her because he never gets fired or disciplined and takes no accountability for anything he does. So why would anybody in this administration do any of this shit? But anyway, let's get back to our good friend here talking about the sniper, the whole thing. And then I want to get back to talking about Thomas Crooks and how he got up there, took the shots. And I have a theory about it, because we're going to also talk about how they're mentioning that he was not the only shooter, or possibly wasn't the only shooter there. And I also have some footage showing something very suspicious on top of that infamous water tower that we'll get to in a second. So let's look at this stuff. All right, check this out.
And Florida Congressman and former U.S. Army sniper Corey Mills. What kind of shot was this, Corey, from 130 yards?
Look, at the end of the day, this is a shot that your basic training boot camp soldier is requested to make within their 9-week period. This is one of the easiest shots, and they train all the way out to 300, 500.
Not even
when I was doing the
have to
wasn't with the United States Army. It was actually when I was with the State Department and was doing this exact thing, which is trying to look at going out with an advanced team, establishing what the perimeter is, and then as a sniper, when you would set up, you'd put together your range sketch or your range fan cards, and that would tell you where your 100, your 200, your 300, and you'd identify the areas of threat that you would be able to mitigate. And if there's multiple targets, you understand that your elevation and windage knob wouldn't have to be messed with, especially at 160 yards. You could literally just look, quickly glance, and know from the reference point, whether it be a building, whether it be a lone tree, whether it be a parking lot, maybe it's a road. Bottom line is that this is massive negligence to the point of me speculating on what was intentional and what wasn't.
Wow. When you're doing a site survey and you're seeing this rooftop not that far away, why did it look like the counter sniper team was a little surprised?
I can only speculate, and we'll have to wait until
all of this shit's just unbelievable.
Local law enforcement was potentially climbing up onto the roof when they saw a dark object on a light roof. But here's the issue.
Wait, you're saying maybe they misconstrued Crooks for a friendly, for local law enforcement?
It's very possible. I don't want to speculate to the investigation.
I'll give them a possibility of that.
If you saw someone climbing onto a roof that you hadn't authorized any clearance on, it's got a clear line of sight.
But he should have a radio saying, "Hey, it's me."
Shooting,
right?
Well, he wasn't even sitting,
and you're talking about a pop shot, and you got people yelling, and they're
just going off the fact that they were assuming, okay, let's give it benefit of the doubt that maybe they thought it was a friendly. Wouldn't that friendly have a radio or something stating, "Hey, it's me"?
There was a cop that said that it was a local law enforcement agent, and he climbed up to the top, and he just got over the crest, and there was a barrel in his face. So first thing he did is ducked for cover, right? And then because
he turned his rifle to the cop, and then miraculously turned it back and then shot off the shot. So don't you have to set up that shot again and put it in your sights?
Right.
It's going to take a couple seconds.
At least 30 seconds to line that shot back up. And the thing is too, is, why didn't that cop, peek up again. You know what I mean? When he heard him move, because he was going to move, he had to have heard him move on the roof again. And my thing is that cop could have neutralized the threat right then and there.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because as a police officer, you're trained, no matter what, you're trained to, take action.
Neutralize a threat.
Yeah, by any
Or
means.
something
So
to that effect. Yeah.
So if that guy's pointing a gun at him, right there, his life's in danger. So he is justified in taking a shot. And my thing is still, we're talking about Secret Service and all that, but this guy gets a gun barrel in his face, and he doesn't reach back up or peek back up and see if he can get a shot. Like, I mean, you don't have to be Danny Glover and them guys and as super cops or anything like that. But my God, where was the action? Why didn't he take action? He could have taken action right then, and it wouldn't even have been half as bad as it was. You know what I mean? One guy dead instead of two guys dead and two people injured.
Well, we've seen a ton of footage, and I think a lot of people looking at this have seen a ton of footage. There was minimum 10 minutes to an hour before where this crooks was walking around that building on the grass. Everybody saw him. What's this guy doing? And then they see him up on the roof, crawling up on the roof. Hey, he's up on the roof and blah, blah, blah. Hey, let the people. Why wasn't, this is my whole thing. Why wasn't that reported on the radio to say, don't let Trump get up on stage right now. There's a potential threat. We don't know if it's a friendly. We don't know if it's a, bad guy, whatever it is. We don't know. Don't let him get up on the stage. And why wasn't that ever done if nothing else?
They identified him 10 minutes before Trump even got on stage.
Yeah.
And so you're thinking.
And they still let him get up on stage.
Yeah. Why did they still let him get up on stage? And that seems to me like because it was an inside job, because they were told that, don't worry about him.
Let's not get into conspiracy theories, Rudy.
Yeah, my bad.
There's a possibility that, you know what, there's got to be something here where it says there's a potential or something is really weird that why did they let Trump speak on stage when he should have not gone up there? What are the possibilities of that? I'm questioning everything. Yeah. Why would they? Okay, so right. The potential is A, complete incompetence, complete lack of personnel, not enough people to be able to handle the situation, which that's just completely insane to begin with. And Kimberly Cheadle should be fired just for that fact alone. Mm-hmm. But then you're right. What's another potential? If it's not incompetence, then was it planned? Was it on purpose? Was it an inside job? Was there somebody working in conjunction? Is it one thing, is the other, or is it a little of both?
Yeah, it had to have been, because the thing is you don't fumble a football this bad without something going on behind the scenes.
Too many things went wrong after each other.
Exactly. If there was just one thing that went wrong, okay, you could scratch it off as, hey, that agent, he had too much coffee or whatever. You know what I mean? You could blame it on the agent. You could blame it on whatever. But it was a succession of the one thing after another, mm-hmm. and there's too many things to just write it off as a bad day for the secret. You know what I mean? For the team. No.
Yeah. No. Too much stuff. Let's continue on a little bit more, because I want to get to the water tower and I want to get to a couple of
law enforcement who apparently had a rifle pointed on them. There should have been an emergency frequent comms channel that they could have said, we have a shooter on the roof.
Just said that.
Secret Service should have rushed the stage and immediately took the president and took him off, and then responded with the counter sniper. The shot should not have gone off. That is the failure in itself. You're supposed to be able to try, the best security is when you go in and you're actually able to prevent an incident, not react to an incident.
Try to scroll ahead.
If you'd have left the law enforcement officer's patrol car in that parking lot with the lights on, that could have been a deterrent. But when you have nothing that is actually showing force protection, you're encouraging this. Look, I'm not sure about who the individuals are on the individual detail of Secret Service, but I can tell you under this Biden administration, the one thing I've seen is massive DEI hires. And I can tell you, when you primarily go after DEI, you end up with DIE.
So,
that's interesting. Didn't I mention that before as well? All you people who want to say DEI is wonderful, diversity, equity, and inclusion, you're basically saying there are other characteristics that are more important than skill set, than competence.
Yeah.
And you're looking at
you're looking at the direct result from your inclusion.
You're looking at factors like, is this a woman? Is this a black man? Is this a Hispanic? Is this a lesbian or gay guy? Or I mean, you're looking at all the wrong. Are they? I don't give a rat's ass. Are they qualified?
Yeah,
to do the
whatever
job?
color you are, you know what I mean,
Yeah.
or whatever you have between your legs. If you're qualified to do the job, I'll give you the job.
Yeah.
But I'm not gonna say, oh well, man, we don't have enough women on this team. She's not quite qualified, but she'll get there.
You know where they don't.
Hispanics on this team.
You know where they don't have
failed his shooting test. He's 5'0" so it's gonna be really hard to put him on any detail. But you know what? We don't have enough Hispanics, so let's bring him on. That's bullshit. That is the giving a trophy to the kid who sat on the bench all year
and he showed up.
He showed up. No, the trophies, she needed to go to the best of the best.
You know where they don't have DEI? The NBA, the NFL.
Yeah.
I mean, let's face reality. You're trying to get the best of the best. It doesn't matter if you're black, white, Chinese, Hispanic. If you are good, Yao Ming was 7'5" or something like that. Chinese, but he was a good player. You know, I mean, it doesn't matter if you're a good player, if you're qualified for the position, qualified for the job. Great. Why are you having a 5'3", whatever hell height she is, trying to cover a 6'3" guy? There's a foot difference where a bullet can go through, and you're supposed to put your life on it. Did it not look like every single one of those people were more concerned about their head getting hit? Oh my God. Oh Jesus.
Yeah.
I gotta cover.
Well, there
instead of covering Trump, which that's their job was to protect him at all costs.
Yeah.
You were supposed to be the best of the best.
And
you guys look like a bunch of Keystone cops out there. I hate to say it.
Yeah, it was terrible. And you know, I think I mean, you and him hit it on the head, you know what I mean? That DIE will always lead, or DEI will always lead to DIE, because you're not putting your best foot forward, and these are supposed to be the best of the best here. And you know what I mean? When you replace them with inclusion, that's a recipe for disaster, my friend.
Oh yeah.
You know?
Oh yeah. I'm going to pull this up a little. It won't play this video, but you probably have seen this one. This is another sniper. This guy has the longest confirmed kill. He's Canadian sniper, and he was just talking about how the roof is the most obvious risk. Okay, I'm not an expert. You're not an expert in this field, but I guarantee you and I could go into that field, and we can look around, being, I don't know, common sense people, look around and just go, okay, if we're going to have Trump on the stage here, or whoever, it doesn't matter, Biden, Trump, whoever, he's going to be here. I'm looking at every possible shot, every angle, every rooftop, every tree, every water tower, every anything, and say, okay, I need at least one guy there, at least 2 or 3 guys over here. I need somebody there. I need somebody to secure that water tower so nobody is climbing up that to get a nice aerial shot from up there. I want to make sure that everybody who comes into the field to sit down in the stands or stand up to listen to the speech gets a pat down worse than going through the fucking airport.
Right.
Okay. To make sure everybody's good to go. I'm going to make sure that parking lot and those buildings there are not only secured from the inside, but are also secured on the rear. It doesn't take a freaking genius to figure this out.
No.
Why was this a failure so horribly that people with half a brain in their head could have said, yeah, we probably should have had somebody. You think you should have had somebody on the roof? You really?
Yeah.
Did you think of that all yourself? You did good, Joe. You answered all the questions and got all the facts right.
You know what? Another thing too, I saw today was that ladder.
Yeah.
That wasn't like a retractable ladder. That was like an A-frame ladder, right? And so that ladder,
permanent ladder, even from what I may have heard.
Really? So I didn't hear that. But that's the thing. Like, I mean, was he disguised as a painter or what? Because what do you got? You see a guy walking around with a 6 or 7 foot ladder.
Yeah.
And you don't say, what the fuck is that guy? Look, because he's not on the team. You know what I mean?
Right.
And so
he looks like a long-haired hippie, you know, backwards ass country bumpkin, to be honest with you.
And he's just lurking around with a ladder. I mean, come on, man.
Yeah. No, there's way too many questions, and then more and more keep coming up the more days go on, and there's going to be investigations. And right now, I heard there's potentially 6 different investigations, and there needs to be, because I think my Dorcas wanted to put his own investigation together. You know, that's like the fox guarding the hen house, right there, right? Because it's like, okay, well, you haven't fired the bitch. You yourself has not resigned, even though you said the border is secure, and you just want to punch him in the face because he's such a dork.
Well, and you look at the thing is too, is like you put the people that were in on the setup. Those are the people that are going to do the investigation. Yeah, for real. Are you really? Yeah. Come on, man.
How many of those people are the foxes?
Exactly. It's so stupid.
Yeah, fucking
it's so the thing is who do they think they're fooling? And if you're getting fooled by this,
Trump syndrome voters.
You need to educate yourself. Yeah. You need to do the deep dives. You need to read. You need to question things. Because if you're believing this bullshit, I'm sorry, man. You are up in the night, and you are one of the sheep, and you're always going to be one of the sheep.
Brainwashed cult. That's what you're in.
Yeah.
And it's not all Democrat voters. Both of us have ultra liberal friends, ultra Democrat friends that
there's people
Dems walk on water
down the middle. The problem is, the difference is, you know, and there's the libertarians too, but you know, the difference is the people that want to keep their head in the sand and want to believe the bullshit and want to believe Trump is evil and want to believe he's Hitler and all this bullshit. They want to stay in that trance that they're in.
Yeah.
And then there's the people that are awake. And I'm not saying woke, because that's horseshit. But I'm talking about awake to the fact that you're being fed full of bullshit. You know what I mean? And there are a lot of people, you know, that are blue, that, you know, that are awake, and they know, and they're questioning things too. You know what I mean? And then there's a lot of people that have turned. You know what I mean? Like
say,
the gal,
this is ridiculous.
That influencer model gal or whatever, you know what I mean? That came in,
Amber Rose,
whatever. That came and spoke at the RNC. Yeah. I'm glad she did that. I am super glad she did that. But the thing is there are millions of more Americans that are doing that don't have that kind of stage to stand on, right? They're not influencers, they're not models, they can't have they're not actors, you know what I mean? And so they have no forum really to get that message out there. But really, I think that's what needs to happen more and more and more and more, are these people that they're waking up from that trance and saying, wait a minute,
none of this is making sense.
This is absolute bullshit. You guys gotta think about this, you know?
Anyway, no, that makes sense. So we're going to go on to the next theory, and then we're going to circle back to our good friend Thomas Crooks, and how we think that
indoctrinated.
He wasn't a lone gunman. He wasn't. And if you've ever seen the interviews, and I don't know if I have it up here, of his classmate saying, look, no, he wasn't a loner. He wasn't really bullied very much at all. He hung around with some friends, and
I didn't see that one.
You haven't seen that one?
No, that's.
Oh my God, yeah. There's some.
I had to take the day off of the news feeds and the whole thing yesterday and a little bit of the day before, because it was just too much.
Yeah. So wait, there's more. So listen to this guy. He's talking about a second shooter on the water tower.
On the water tower.
Now, the water tower in this, you can see it right here, is almost twice the distance.
Right.
Okay. And at a much higher angle. I think it's high enough to get over these trees that were right here, and you'll see it, and still be able to hit Trump. So it's very interesting because if you listen to the ballistics audio, you can tell there, and I'm not an expert, but from what the experts have said, is that there were definitely distinctly two different weapons firing. Crooks only had one rifle, as far as I know.
Yeah, I heard that they were the what do you call it? The sounds that come from them. There was two different sounds, but what I heard was one was from the shooter and then one was from the sniper. But I you know what I mean? Like I said,
right, but I think what I heard, because that's exactly a great point, is that there were actually three. The sniper's rifle being one, Crooks's being the other, and an unknown third one, which is this quote unquote potential second shooter that we're going to look at real quick right now. And then we'll come back and we'll talk about it.
This whole idea of the water tower shooter. Okay. Because this is where it gets really interesting. As I said, the rabbit hole goes deep with this one. So, okay, this is a map that was put together that shows, and I apologize for the podcast listeners. So this shows right here. Okay, there's Trump's location on the grandstand there. He's on the stage. The star right there to the lower right on the white building top. There. This is where the shooter was. Okay, this is where the guy that we're all focusing on. This is where he was laying when they found when they killed him. I think that, so if you look at these white roofs to the left of where Trump was at, I believe that's where the secrets, where the sniper and
the snipers are right in here. Right? I believe
that photo's been shared a lot. You have the sniper, the spotter, the guy who actually took this guy out. That's where they are. But then over here, I'll zoom out a little bit. Over here is a water tower, and this water tower has a perfect line of sight as well to where Trump was. Now, you could probably go into Google Earth and find a handful of places that say, okay, well, someone could have been here, someone could have been up in this tree, they could have been in this other location. Okay. But what's interesting, as this post says, is that multiple eyewitness accounts have emerged stating they heard a shot coming from the water tower. It's plausible if you look at where it is in relationship to the shooter. Okay, so let's come to this first thing. Okay, here is I'll just kind of talk over it as this is going. So this is showing you right here. This is giving you just a more of a 3D representation of the area. And so you can see the little green plus sign, if it moves in.
Why wasn't this whole area covered? You had a sniper on this roof from Secret Service. You had guys walking around all around the stage area, which is right in here. Nobody was on this roof or over in that area to keep people away. But this huge complex, including this parking lot, didn't seem to have much of a presence of law enforcement, at least that I've seen in any of these videos or anybody explaining it. So Crooks was this roof right here. Behind there, you had others. Over here, you had one pretty good line of sight right here as well. A little farther away shot. I mean, the closest shot, like you said, the basic, day one, within your first 9 weeks, should be able to hit this with just your iron sights, no optics, and should be able to hit them. Yeah. Look at how much farther away the water tower is. So you're almost twice the distance. Like, wait till you see a couple of these videos that, this one, I think he shows it. And if not in this one, it's definitely in the next one I've got.
Is where the sniper was. The red is where the shooter was. And you have this water tower, though.
And why wasn't that secured?
This is using satellite images. Yeah. They're rotating around so that basically you can see that from this water tower, it appears that you have a very clear line of sight to where Trump was. Okay, so there is the rooftop. They're showing where the shooter
really
was.
Slowed, by the way. It's dangerous.
But you can also see there's a water tower. Okay, highly suspicious. Okay. Now, what's suspicious of it is these interviews. So there's actually, I think I've got 3 separate interviews to show you. Okay. So first interview, I pull up for you. So here we go.
Let's see what he says here.
Where the other shooter was. There was one I heard in the water tower. There was one by the fence. And still, obviously, initial reports. But what we do know, according to...
Okay, let me make it a little bigger for you.
Where the other shooter was. There was one I heard in the water tower. There was one by the fence.
I'll try to scroll through and see if I can find another shot here.
She's saying that, okay, I heard 2 shooters, one by the water tower, one by the fence. But what's also interesting is watch the body language of the reporter. I'll play this again. It's only 8 seconds. As soon as she mentions a shooter by the water tower, this woman,
turns away.
The reporter instantly shuts it down, and kind of dismisses it. Like, okay, well, we're still kind of gathering information. Watch again. Watch her body.
Does anybody else find that odd? That a reporter getting new information that nobody, an exclusive, if you will, turns away and shuts down the interviewee immediately. Why? Why would you do that? Would it be inside job, Rudy? Would that be possibility of that? Would it be a cover up that
she must have already known and she needed to stick to the narrative? That's what that sounds like.
Did somebody tell her? Yeah, if they go off script, I mean, you're somebody that maybe shut it down. I mean, why? Why would you do? Why would you do that? Why? Ask the questions, people. Why doesn't this seem odd?
Where is this coming from? This feed, was it from CNN?
I'm not sure.
It was Fox. It looks like Fox News.
Okay. Yeah, I'm not sure. It looks like it was Fox. But anyway, it's even a CNN interviewer was interviewing that same sniper guy that we just listened to a minute ago. And he started going off on all that stuff, and all of a sudden she's like, "Oh," and tries to interrupt him. Isn't that interesting? You're trying to get an interview of what could possibly have gone on, and you're shutting it down.
Yeah, you're trying to get the story, but you're shutting it down.
Why would you do that?
Yeah.
Why would you do that? Rudy, why would you do that?
If I was in on it, I would. That's exactly what I would do. If I already knew the script, if I already knew the script, you know, and they told me that this is what we're pushing out. So anything that is, you know,
counter to our narrative.
Counter to the narrative. We shut it down.
So why? Okay, let's say you weren't in on it and you shut the interview down as the interviewer. Why would you do that then if you were not part of the narrative, not part of the whatever, and maybe you didn't have somebody in your ear saying shut it down because obviously you're just the pawn in this interviewing this person. But let's just say you didn't have that. Why would you shut that down if you're interviewing this person? Would there be another reason other than something?
I don't know, but you have an idea about that, don't you?
Well, I do have an idea, but we're going to wait for a second. So he goes on talking about all this stuff, and people have heard different shots. Okay, you have to realize that there's a lot of questions going on, and people need to understand. Let's go to this next one real quick, and then I want to get to the video that I will show you of the water tower. So
it's another interview of people talking about a shooter in a water tower. Let's go and play this.
First crack of the gunfire, and I just screamed, "It's the sniper! It's the sniper!" And he was firing down toward the water tower.
That's what we're hearing.
And yeah, and then at that same exact moment, there was a spray from the right side of the stage that I thought was some type of gas,
Turns out that was hydraulics. The hydraulics of the tractor that was holding up one of the big tower speaker towers.
Gotcha.
And it hit the hydraulic line. The hydraulic line sprayed out all of that, and that's why you saw the tower speakers drop. Okay, so that's what happened, and that got hit.
Gas, but smoke.
Sure.
Lined up front. But he said it was. He heard it was gunfire. Didn't know hydraulic on the traction. So the gunfire was coming toward the stage.
Wow.
And then a few minutes later, there was a couple more shots popping down the hill, and that's when they started flooding and pushing everybody out. First crack of the gunfire, and I
found the part just about that. So watch this.
Coming out here now, they feel that there was 2 shooters on both sides. So they got the one on the tower on this side, but the one on the right side they never got. So that's why they wanted us to leave immediately, because they thought there's still a shooter out there somewhere.
That makes sense.
Again, she's mentioning how they got the shooter on the
benefit of the doubt
tower, or the tower, and there's still one else there. So again,
Need to move. Yeah.
When you're looking at all this put together, it's like, what's really going on here? Okay.
Exactly. And so as I try to find this other video, this is the one that will show it. And there's another one I have as well where they also show it, and you kind of zoom in. But maybe, which one do I want to show real quick here? Let's do this one. Let me cue this up real quick for us so we can kind of see what's going on. All right. So now we have potential confirmation, and benefit of the doubt, we don't really have confirmation. We have suspicions that there was a second shooter in the water tower, right? So now let's just see a little more video evidence of what might be that people are talking about. Is there a shooter there? So let's listen to this real quick. And I think they show some video, and it's unbelievable to me in 2024 that we still have such grainy, shitty ass videos of things like this. I mean, does not everyone have a camera in their phone that's like a minimum 12 megapixel, if not much higher, that we should get at least a little bit clearer image, even if you're zooming way the hell in? I'm just saying.
Yeah, it blows me away.
Check this out. What are we, back in 1980?
In
this video, watch this.
Was on that water tower. And now 10 eyewitnesses, 10 have come forward to confirm that, yes, someone was on that water tower. So you can throw all these 10 people out. You can say, oh, they're just nuts. You know, they're just Trump supporters. They're just nuts. Or you could listen to them. Who was on that water tower the day that President Trump was shot?
You're going to be blown away by this video here, I think.
Of a figure, someone on that water tower. Now, initially, RSBN Network originally aired this wide-angle footage from their live stream on their X account during this day. We've now zoomed in and added some text so you can see a figure moving on top of this water tower. So take a look at your screen here.
Charge a couple of months old, and if you want to really see something that said, take a look at what happened.
Now he's down on the ground on the stage.
Now you see that figure disappear.
Wait.
Hard to see it.
Now you see that figure reemerge.
It's a little darker thing coming out.
Emerges.
So you're going to zoom in.
Right now, we're going to zoom in.
Watch this shit.
See this dark figure at the very top here, as President Trump is speaking, right before the shots are fired, and then this person.
That doesn't look like a figure right now.
After the shots are fired, steps out. You can listen to the.
Wait. Now that darkness is gone. Now he's back. Now it's really back. What the hell is that?
And they had been right by the fence where the other shooter was. There was one I heard in the water tower. There was one by the fence. And still, obviously, initial reports. But what we do know is
First track of the
Wow.
You know, you can kind of see it now disappear now that you know what you're looking for.
Yeah.
See that speaker tower? That was the one that fell from the other side being hit by the hydraulic line.
Okay, water towers.
That chart's a couple of months old, and if you want to really see something that said, take a look at what happened.
You can see something's moving. Is it Sasquatch? Is it Bigfoot? No.
Huh.
So that's what we have today.
I don't know if you saw that video or not. I saw that last night, and I was like, oh my goodness. Okay, now things just got interesting. It just got interesting.
Yeah, I didn't see that video at all. I heard, like, I saw these interviews that people saying stuff on the water tower, but it was so shoved under the rug, like we were saying, it was so just kind of overstepped that it's never really emerged a ton since, you know.
Yeah, I'm just scrolling through again to see if there's anything else that I missed on there. Probably not, but yeah, this adds a whole new thread to what's going on and just asks more questions. I'm not saying this was a plot by Biden and his administration. I'm not saying it's not a plot by. I mean, it could be, it might not be. But if we're not asking these questions, going, well, wait a minute, this narrative that this was a lone gunman, Thomas Crooks, on top of a building 130 yards away, not almost 250 yards away that the tower is, give or take. I can't remember exactly how far it was, but it looked almost twice. That there's other questions that need to be raised. This is a little more interesting. Now, do you want to hear my little conspiracy theory I was mentioning about Thomas Crooks earlier?
Yeah.
So I am speculating, and this is mere conjecture, that this was all, I'm going to say Thomas Crooks was a patsy for this whole thing.
Yeah, I think he was a pawn. Yeah.
Yeah. So I think what happened is BlackRock commercial. Remember, he's sitting, the kid with the glasses, sitting at the front of the desk while the guy's doing the teachers at the board talking about it. And it's a BlackRock commercial. I don't know what the tie is. It sure is coincidental. That's not what I'm trying to put together here. What I'm putting together is that Crooks probably was, from what the other interviews, and I don't have them, I'll try to find them at some point, or if you want to look it up while I'm looking this, and just send me the link in the chat, I'll try to put it up on the screen, of Thomas Crooks's classmate. And then you should see some interviews, and there's one that has text in the video so you can kind of hear what he says. And he's talking about, no, Crooks was not bullied really, and he wasn't this loner. He had a group of friends, and they were all kind of anti-Trump, and the fact that he was a registered Republican, he only did that like prior to this event, like not long ago. I don't know the time frame. So my thing is, okay, he was approached by somebody, ties to BlackRock, I don't know, ties to the government somehow. Okay, they found out what he was kind of like, and they said, okay, this would be a perfect kid. And they convinced this kid, hey, you hate Trump, right? Don't you think that Trump should go away and be eliminated because he's a threat to our democracy? He's a threat to this country. He's a threat to everything that you value in your life, and he should not be running. And again, this is just me, a little conjecture here. And I think that you would be great. We will put you on the roof and you'll pretend you're a sniper. You don't have to really hit him or shoot him. We'll have somebody else there. They don't even tell him this. They just tell him that this is his part, his role. And you're going to stand out in front, and you're going to make, you're going to be seen. People are going to see you walking around the building. People are going to see, you're going to get caught because you'll have something in your car. And we're just trying to, whatever. Okay. Way too many things. If you're trying to take out somebody, you're not making a big footprint out there. You're not making a big show like, oh, hey, here I am. I'm going to get up on the roof here shortly, and I'm going to try to assassinate the ex-president who's running for office again. Does that not seem weird that he's all over the place? People are seeing him, people are telling him, but nothing is done about him. Nothing is done about this. Now you see a potential second shooter or some figure on top of this water tower with shots being heard from that direction because it's not the same direction. And our ears are pretty good at three-dimensional audio detection. We can tell when something's coming from here as opposed to here.
Right.
That this all seems too contrived to me. It seems too put together, too planned. I think that they set this kid up. Don't worry, you won't die. We'll make sure of it because we're going to take him out and we're going to distract and blah, blah, blah. Yeah. You don't think that kid thought that he was going to die that day?
I think so. I think he was brainwashed into think of the fact that he was a patriot and he was doing this for his country, and he's the only one who could have done it. I think that is exactly the narrative that he was given, and I think that is the exact narrative that he operated on. And the thing was, it was so easy for him to do it,
right? Because they let him, right? That's the only way you could have done that is if you were allowed to do it.
Exactly. I can't find that video. All I'm finding is him is talking about him being bullied, but I don't know if that's here nor there, because you're right. I think that that he in the moment, in the indoctrination, when he got there, I feel like he felt like he was being a patriot and saving the country.
Do you think that he thought that he was going to die for this cause, or do you think that he went into this thing saying, there's no way I'm going to die, or else I wouldn't do this, or what, I could die and I'm okay doing it?
Yeah, when you're in that mindset, it's like going to war. It's like being a Marine or an Army Ranger or something like that. You go knowing that you
could
may
not
not come back. Yeah.
Right.
I don't think it was a suicide mission per se. I don't think it was a suicide mission. However, I feel like he thought that he might not make it out of it, but he might as well.
Yeah.
So, but no matter what, I feel like he thought that he was saving the country. I feel like he thought this was his patriot thing to do, and this was going to be his claim to fame. And this is, because here's another thing. If you're a lone gunman and you are say the assassinators before, you go in there and you've got some hardcore shit going on in your head, right? And those guys go in there, right? And those guys go in there expecting to die, because what's the consequence of doing that? Life in prison, right? Or maybe or worse, right? So that's if you live. And those shooters, they don't want to spend the rest of their lives in jail, right?
No,
They're not
at 20 years old. That's a long ass time.
Prison. In prison.
Right.
So I think that part of that indoctrination was, well, you're going to be doing this for your country. You're a patriot and you'll be protected.
Right. We'll get you out of jail. Don't we worry about that. We'll guarantee you that.
Yeah.
He could say anything, this kid. There's no chance in hell you're going to see any jail time. We will get you out because you're doing this for your country.
Yeah.
Or something to that effect.
I think that that's 100% accurate on how this kid was indoctrinated. I really do. I really do.
If you want to see that video, just look it up. Just look at Thomas Crook's friend interview.
Well, I saw the one. Yeah, there was a one. There was the one with the kids in the street, and those guys were saying he was bullied quite a bit. But I didn't. I looked at.
But then there was others where I heard that he wasn't really bullied that much either. So it's like, okay, now we're getting two different stories. I don't know what to believe. I'm just passing along information we're hearing. So as we get with this, because there's one more big potential coincidence, and I don't believe in coincidences, that we'll get into in a second. But the disturbing thing that I think we need to also discuss are people like this. Okay? If you haven't heard this video yet, Libs of TikTok are so graciously put this up, and they're awesome because they just post the shit that these people are posting. They're not putting any vitriol out there. They're just like, hey, you posted, I'm just going to repost it on my site and show people how insane you are. And this is disturbing. And listen to this crazy youngster, Gen Z, brainwashed in a cult who thinks everybody else is in a cult. And they think that they're right and they're saving the world. Again, here we go. Listen to this.
I just found out about this shit. It just happened. I haven't even had a second to process. You're telling me somebody finally had the balls to bring a pew-pew and he missed. We were a second away. We were a centimeter away from half of the problem being gone, and you missed. There was a white man attached to that trigger. I know it.
Oh my God.
We were a centimeter away.
Away from what? Lower taxes? A fixed
Civil
economy.
war?
Oh well, yeah, war.
Riots in the streets. The Trump supporters
What
being
the
pissed off and
hell
going,
is she talking about?
are we just a centimeter away of being a third world dictatorship where we take out our fucking opposition? Where people like Putin take out their fucking enemies in plane crashes and helicopter crashes? Where people like Maduro in Venezuela take out their opponents so that they have nobody running against them and they can run the country? Is this what you're talking about?
Dude,
because you're going down a very dangerous road here, chick.
That is insane.
Do you ever hear anybody on the conservative side do shit like this when they don't get their way or something doesn't happen that they want, like this? And for people to think it's okay to kill somebody, I don't care if you hate Trump or you hate Biden or you hate anybody who has a differing opinion, a differing political view or anything else. I'm not looking to kill you and hope that you would die. What kind of evil, sick piece of shit does that make me?
Well, that's the problem too, because you look at that same thing. This shows the indoctrination. You know what I mean? This shows the brainwashing. And how old is that gal? 22?
I mean, yes, yeah, close to 20, give or take 20-ish,
man.
Yeah.
I mean, and to think that somebody that young, you know, and even
things, holy shit,
and the college age kids, you know what I mean, with that whole college debacle, and the riots and the protests and all that horse shit, you know, to think that they are getting this brainwashed that young,
and that angry and that just delusional about life.
It's you're right. It's delusional. It's absolutely that is wild, bro. Wild.
Yeah. If you haven't seen that dementia that's right there, you have no idea. I mean, it's crazy, and it's like Tenacious D. And it's like what's his name? Kevin Sapp. What's his name? Sass. Kevin Sass, the other guy in Tenacious D with Jack Black.
Yeah.
Saying that shit. His birthday is in Australia, and they're on a they're on the stage, and it's Kevin's birthday, and Jack Black wishes him, "What do you wish for?" And he goes, "I wish they wouldn't have missed."
Yeah. And that was, you know what? I'm glad that, because Jack Black came out with a statement about that. And I'm sure, you know,
which he never would have if he wasn't called out for it. I guarantee it.
You know what? I don't know. I mean, I'm
or
thinking,
do you think he has a little humanity in him?
I think he has a little humanity in him.
I hope so.
That other dude, by the way, you know, he's a piece of shit. But
I mean, I like the shit he does sometimes, but when he supports Biden, God
with the statement, and I'm glad that their talent agent and management or whatever dropped that Kevin dude, or Kyle something, and
Bass,
Kyle Bass, and
I don't care. That's why I just said,
and they may, you know, they may break ties and all this kind of stuff, but so I'm glad that that's happening. But you look at the people like De Niro, like I had DVDs of De Niro's movies, and I burned them in the fire the other night. And
he's deranged.
I will not support I won't support that indoctrination. Because he'll be part of the problem as well. You know what I mean? Because people looked up to him. People think, and the thing is, he's dumb as a fucking rock if he's not reading the script.
Oh, I know. Oh yeah, he's an idiot. Yeah, it's like teleprompter. The reason these people get like this, dude, is because of this shit that they hear coming from mainstream media and other sources, and Biden and everything, calling Trump Hitler and all this shit, and we must eliminate him. Listen to this bullshit right here.
But his rhetoric is really getting dangerous, more and more dangerous. And we saw what happened on January 6th when he uses inflammatory rhetoric now.
And what was that? To go peacefully protest over it, to walk safe and do not do anything. If you actually listen to what Trump said, he never said anything about people rioting and going through and trespassing into the White House or the Capitol building. I mean,
did you see that montage? Did you see that montage of the left side's rhetoric?
Oh God, yeah, that's what part of this is. Calling him Hitler, literally Hitler.
Calling him Hitler. We got to eliminate him. That's the only thing to do. And
he's a threat to democracy, threat to the world, threat to everything.
To the world, threat to our country, threat to. And you're saying this is rhetoric? I mean, come on, man.
Yeah, give me a break. And that's why that chick is just so out there, unhinged and deranged, just like De Niro.
And his recent True Social post is incredibly scary for anyone
grow up
might be trying to work in government. And it is just unquestionable at this point that man cannot see public office again. He is not only unfit, he is destructive to our democracy, and he has to be eliminated.
Oh, there it is.
He's literally eliminated.
Yeah, that is
eliminated is the
threat,
word.
dude.
That is a threat. But he's literally describing Biden.
I know.
You know what I mean? That last sentence, he's literally describing Biden. Now, I don't think Biden needs to be eliminated because that guy's he's gonna die in his bed peacefully.
Oh yeah.
Because he's fucking ancient. That's what's gonna happen to Biden. He's gonna die of old age.
He
doesn't need to be eliminated.
Right.
However, there was a breaking story this morning. I don't know if you saw it. It hasn't been 1,000% confirmed yet, but he's basically dropping out of the race.
I've heard that, and then I also heard he's now not. Maybe until it actually happens, I wait to hear the final, and
there's still some him and Han over that.
Yeah.
But I mean, the funny thing is though is his own party is really trying to push him out.
Drop out. Yeah. Drop out.
But I heard that he's not going to endorse Kamala as the new.
Isn't that interesting? I heard that too, and I was sitting there like, okay, so your DEI hire is not somebody you're going to actually support when push comes to shove,
right? And isn't
that interesting?
That's the comical thing about just this party in general, and this power party. Yeah. That they claim that they aren't, you know what I mean?
You don't think that your DEI hire is worthy of the office of the president of the United States after you've nominated or you put her in as your VP. Okay, as VP, but not as the president.
Nah.
But she checked off all the boxes except the fact that she's actually competent in what she's doing and has a brain in her head.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I don't know if that'd be great. I don't know if that'd be great for the race. You know, obviously where my vote's going, but at the same time, you know what I mean. If they put a heavy hitter in there, you know, we could see some drop in the polls. But at the same time, I think there is so much weight behind Trump right now, and so much of the minority vote that it's gonna be an uphill fucking battle for anybody who's gonna try to run against him.
Oh yeah. All right. One last thing, real quick here is just one more thing from Nancy Pelosi, and then we're going to get into one last interesting coincidence. We're not going to take much time on it because we want to wrap this up with you. We've been on quite a while talking about the same shit we've been hearing for the last 5-6 days, but
we just had to
talk about it. Yeah,
we had to put our question stamp on it.
Yeah,
that's what you should do. That's what we should do. Is we should throw some stamps and in the Etsy shop, and then just go around like graffitiing,
right?
You know, the Biden signs with it. You know what I mean? The political lawn signs.
Exactly. All right. So just so we're not crazy, and then people understand, it's not that last guy, that last douchebag, but here's Nancy Pelosi saying the same kind of shit that riles up that people like that other girl and De Niro and all these other Trump derangement people who think this was a setup and staged by Trump. Again, that's a whole other topic of idiocy that these lunatics are talking about. It's like, you really think that people are going to be killed and Trump is going to put himself literally in the line of fire?
He's going to
stage this.
You're right. He's going to risk his own life
And then he turned his head at the last split second, but because if he didn't and the timing was off with your little sniper guy, you would have been dead. Oh yeah, let's stage that. That sounds just
that's so stupid. And the thing is, though, too, is so if it was staged, don't you think they would have used blanks? But we've seen pictures.
Oh, it was a blood pack.
That's right. Yeah, blanks in a blood pack.
Really?
So
why did the guy get killed?
Yeah. How do you explain
his
that?
Family, by the way.
Yeah, saving his family.
How did the hydraulic line get hit, and then the hydraulic fluid shot out, and then that tower of speakers fell? Was that a blank also? Dipshits. I mean, these people are stupid.
I hear mixed. Some people are saying because Donald Trump is such an authoritarian.
Oh yeah, Donald Trump is.
We have to win this election. This is not a normal election where you want to win. If you don't,
Biden has proven over and over again.
Do the best you can for the country and hope to win the next time. This is something that is undermining our democracy, and he must be stopped. He cannot be president.
What does that mean, Nancy? What do you mean he must be stopped?
He must be stopped.
Why didn't you explain yourself? And way to go. Was that Dana Bash interviewing her, or somebody who didn't follow up and say, well, what do you mean by must be stopped or eliminated? What do you mean by that?
Here's the problem too, and this bothers me is, and I was talking to a friend last night about this, and she's hardcore left. Like she is like, part of that 10% we were talking about, crazy left. And that's the thing. And just to put this out there, I'm not advocating being crazy on one side or the other, right? I'm not crazy right. I'm not crazy left, but I'm just, my eyes are open.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Just questioning things like that seems odd. Yeah.
Right. And so the thing is you have people like Pelosi, you have people like Joy Reid, you have people like fucking Whoopi Goldberg. You know what I mean? Putting out this false narrative, and the problem is they're putting it out there to these impressionable children. You know what I mean?
Who don't do research,
right? And impressionable like old people too. You know what I mean? That's where they get their news. That's where
the news would never lie to me. The government would never lie to me.
And and they're sitting on their couches, just feeding their face full of whatever the fuck, listening to Joy Reid and Whoopi Goldberg and Nancy Pelosi. Are you kidding me? And then they're getting fired up about it. You know what I mean?
Because they think these bitches are telling and assholes are telling them the truth. Because you tell a lie long enough, it becomes the truth in people's minds.
It does. You start to believe it, and then
it's happened to all of us. I've believed shit for a long time, and all of a sudden, wait a minute, hold on, that doesn't make sense now.
And then
I'm thinking about it.
They're relaying that to their bridge group. They're relaying that to their students, if they're teachers. They're relaying it to their children, their church group, and you know what I mean. And then it's a snowball.
And it just goes exactly, and it's crazy because these people just believe it. So
and again, people don't want to rebut,
right? Or say, wait a minute, that what do you mean? What do you mean? Well, that doesn't make sense, right? So as we go through this whole thing, we start asking the questions, because that's what we do. Is we start saying, okay, and I see more and more shit coming out that makes you wonder and makes you go, interesting. So now there's yet another little potential coinkydink that's going on that you didn't know about either, that I happened to find late last night. And we talked about it earlier, but it's this whole thing. Do you know what short selling is a stock on there, Rudy? You know what it means to short sell a stock?
That I don't.
Well, basically, and I'll have a little video here that talks about what a short sell is on a stock. It's basically for devaluing things, or hoping you're betting against it increasing. You're hoping it decreases in value so you can turn around and sell it for profit. Let me show you a quick video of how that works.
What is short selling? Well, in short selling is a method of making money if you believe that the value of a stock is about to go down. Now, let's start out by defining what value is. The value of a commodity or service or anything is determined by the supply and demand of that thing in the market. How much of that thing there is and how many people want it. As these two factors change over time, so does the value of the item in question. So if you're aware of an impending change in either of these two factors, how can you make a profit from it? Instead of talking about stocks, let's talk about bananas. You're aware of something that's about to happen which will cause the value of bananas to go up from $1 a piece to $2 a piece.
Okay, did you hear what he just said? You've got some information that is telling you the value of a banana is about to increase or decrease. In this case, I think he's talking about increasing. You have some information. That's key.
Yeah.
The way you make money here is simple. You buy 100 bananas for $1 a piece, wait for them to go up in price, and then sell them for $2 a piece, making $100 in profit. But what if instead you feel like the price of bananas is about to go down from $1 a piece to 50 cents a piece? Can you make money in this situation? Well, yes, you can. That's what we call short selling. It all starts with borrowing. You find two banana farmers, Farmer A and Farmer B, and you tell Farmer A that if he lends you 100 bananas today, next week you will give him 110 bananas in return. For Farmer A, this is a great deal. It's like getting 10 free bananas, so he agrees to it. You then quickly go to Farmer B and sell him your 100 bananas for $1 a piece. And then you wait for the price of bananas to go down to 50 cents as you expected it would.
Because you had inside information.
110 bananas from Farmer B for a total of $55. Then you return those 110 bananas to Farmer A as agreed. You've now made a net profit of $45 by shorting the banana market. All you have to do is borrow, sell, buy back, and return.
Okay. Rudimentary gives you a basic idea of how the whole thing works. Okay. So with that concept in mind, that's how the whole GameStop thing happened. I just mentioned, and that's how, actually it was kind of brilliant because it was great to screw over those greedy Wall Street fuckers.
Tell us what you really mean, Barn.
You know what I'm saying. Anyway. So here is a little video. There's a company out there called Austin Private Wealth. And this video is going to talk about them really quickly. And then we're going to do a real quick video with the Tim Cast IRL podcast talking about it as well. And between this and that one, hopefully you can figure out this, because there's a coinky dink here. Let's see if you catch it, shall we? Let's check that out.
Firm Austin Private Wealth shorted 12 million shares of Trump media stock right before his attempted assassination, meaning that Austin Private Wealth stood to benefit from his death, as Trump stock would likely go down had he been killed. But basic logic here, okay? Since
sorry about that. Company, isn't that interesting that they would have made money on his stock buying 12 million shares if he had been killed?
Yeah.
Now, how would they think to know that and possibly put that much into a stock buy?
I think that was just a hunch. I don't know.
It is really weird. I jumped ahead on that. I accidentally made it, but here, let me go back.
Down had he been killed. But instead, Trump stock surged 30% post-attempt.
Because he did
But if stock prices had fallen after his death, that could have been a huge payday to the tune of millions and millions of dollars, reportedly. And now Austin Private Wealth is saying that this was a clerical error due to software. Not insider trading, y'all. Whoopsie daisy. It would be great if I could also say all of my bad bets were clerical errors.
Oops,
but us
I didn't mean to make that.
Let's sort through this information, shall we, so we can determine the truth. To short a company, you borrow shares and then sell them at the current price, hoping that the price will go down in the near future. If it does go down, you buy up those shares at a lower price and you give them back to the lender. And the difference you get to keep as your extra money, your profit. But if the price goes up instead, obviously you can't sell that stock at a profit. And
that's what happened to GameStop, because remember, everybody would found out about it and started buying it, pushing the price up, and those people lost their asses on that. So that's basically kind of what happened. Now, I'm not going to play the rest of that because it's a little long. I want to go back to this other video with Tim Pool podcast where he talks about it as well. But the interesting thing is that they tried to sell short, but now what they're trying to do is say, hey, we lost our ass because the price increased. So now they actually owe the broker hundreds, tens, millions, hundreds of whatever the value is or would have been now that it went up. Remember?
Mm-hmm.
So now they're trying to say, whoa, wait a minute, SEC, that's Securities and Exchange Commission, not this Southeast Conference. We didn't mean to buy 12 million shares. We meant to buy a lot less than that. So here's how they explain it. And it's kind of interesting because they have Viva Frey, a podcaster, former attorney, he lives in Canada. Awesome. I love his podcast. He's great. He's very logical. Also, Riley Gaines is in here as well. It's kind of interesting. But they talk about this as well, and this gives a little more idea what's going on with this, and it makes it a quinky dink that the day before Trump's speech and the assassination attempt, they did this. So here we go.
Bought 12 million puts on DJT. I'm not an expert on what this means. I'm bringing it up because it's been going viral like crazy. And what's being suggested that these are shorts on DJT, on Truth Social the day before the assassination attempt, and more puts, more shorts than all of the others combined since this company's existence. So a lot of people naturally are asking, whoa, hold on. Some wealth LLC company bought more shorts ever right before someone tried to kill Trump?
Explain a short. Like I'm 5.
Okay, you're betting a stock will fail. Okay, that's the simplest. The now that you're that's 5. 5th grade is
what kind of scumbag sits there?
That's the shit will fail. Coca-Cola.
I mean, what kind of?
I then tell Viva, I'll sell it to him for $1.
I then forget who sold it to me, drink it, and then what happens?
And then I hope that the cost of a Coke drops to 10 cents so that I can buy a different one for 10 cents. Say, here's your Coke back, Anna Claire, and keep the 90 cents.
I see.
Yeah. So if it
is use of prop, that was great. Yeah, that was.
If it is true that, again, I don't know if anybody watching can confirm this or can look into more about what it means. It suggests, or it's being suggested by many people, someone somehow made the best bet imaginable were it to have been that Trump did not tilt his head forward 3 degrees.
And it fits a pattern to me. You go back to 9/11.
We'll continue on with this, but isn't that interesting? A new wrinkle in the whole fabric of this whole potential story. Now we have a company knowing somehow and betting short on Trump's stock that if things didn't go well the next day, however that would have been, that all of a sudden Trump's stock goes way down and they tend to make millions.
Well, that
who knows?
That just basically confirms to me that, like what I mentioned earlier, that they were all in a big room together, and the owners of this wealth, whatever,
Austin
company,
Private Wealth or whatever,
Austin Private Wealth, their tops were in that meeting, and got the news. I said, okay, we're out of options. We're gonna try to assassinate him now, or we are gonna assassinate him now.
Right.
So they went back. Did you say that was the day before?
Yeah, Friday,
the day before.
Yeah.
Yeah. There's not a coincidence there.
Could you be more obvious?
Yeah. Right. Yeah. Could you be more obvious?
It's just like during COVID in March. Before, what is it, the 13th, 14th, when the lockdown started or they were starting to put that together. And Pelosi and a lot of Republican senators and Congress people, as well as a lot of the Democrat, all these assholes went in there and sold their stock, bought their stock, depending on what way they knew that something was going to happen, and made a shit ton of money right before the rest of us were not supposed to go into work or stay home and mask and all this bullshit.
Right
and people
before
sit
the
there and think,
country
"Oh,
gets shut
Fauci,
down.
yeah, Fauci would never lie to us. All this shit would never." Now we're seeing the same thing, similar thing happen, and we all sit there and just go, "Wow, that is so weird." Yeah, it's really weird.
Yeah, it's
Let's
not
listen
that
to some
weird.
more because this is
You
interesting.
question everything.
Yeah, because their plan didn't work, GameStop, and all of a sudden they're backtracking and trying to cover their asses because now they owe the broker.
I mean, it looks like
tons of money.
a wealth management company. It looks like they've got a lot of holdings. It looks fairly normal. It may, and this is important too. It may be unrelated to that company.
Right.
If they're a wealth management firm and a client went to them and said, "Hey, I want to do make this purchase for me," they go, "You got it, boss." Or it could be like one company says, "We want to move some of our holdings from you guys to a short on this." We don't know who it was. There's probably layers after layers after layers on this one.
And do you think we'd ever get an answer? Because that's the problem for most American people.
Yes.
It's either too confusing to follow, or you just wait forever and it gets buried on all the news cycles.
The white pill,
yes.
The white pill October surprise. The leaker, someone comes forward and says who put in that order or the company. You go find it out and see who they're connected.
Well, no. It says funds shorting Trump Media and Technology Group. Green rows indicate new positions. The website says Austin Private Wealth has a 12 million share short on DJT the day before someone tried to take his life.
12 million shares.
4chan.
What's the next volume of trading?
Though, I mean, when people are looking for answers, more and more, it's the internet that provides them, not any of the officials, not even any of the investigative journalists. A lot of it is just online.
Well, no crap. I mean, if the internet and legacy media existed at the time of JFK, I mean, you might have had the term conspiracy coined, and they might have said he fell and knocked his head. If it weren't in the age of digital media, social media, and independent journalists for what happened on Saturday in Pennsylvania, they move on to another story by now. Right?
There was someone a woman posted a video being in Times Square in a restaurant, and she's like, because of Twitter, I know what's going on. I know about this attempted assassination, but none of the TVs are playing any breaking news, right?
Okay. Wow. It's crazy. Now, you can have benefit of the doubt. You can have devil's advocates in here going, they posted a $12 million short buy, if you will, whatever it's called. I'm not a stock guy. The next highest volume purchase was like 18 or 1900.
Yeah.
Not 12 million. Okay. So benefit of the doubt, devil's advocate, 12 million. Yeah, we didn't mean to have that many zeros after it. Maybe we just meant to do 12,000 shares or 1,200 shares. Okay, so in one of these other videos, they're talking about how what happened is that they decided to say, "Oh shit, we owe a ton of money because we lost our bet. We thought that Trump would die, stocks would go down." Now they're never going to, of course, admit that, but basically what they're saying is that, and we made an error, and now we want to go to the SEC, Securities Exchange Commission, and say, "Hey, we made a mistake. We didn't mean to." This is 3 days later. They go back to the Securities Exchange Commission and say, "Hey, we didn't mean to have that. It was a wrong thing. We didn't mean." Sorry, buddy, you don't get to go back. You put it in as that. The bid was accepted. Everything has gone through officially.
Yeah, everything's gone through. Did you say 3 days later? Don't you think
later
that if you made a clerical error that turned thousands into millions,
right,
and then got shot off, don't you think that would have been caught before 3 days?
3 days. So Saturday, Sunday, Monday. So first day of trading on the next week. Okay, fine. Benefit of the doubt that, hey, they weren't able to do anything over the weekend because nobody works over the weekend in the financial industry. So it's still suspicious because everything went through, everything was accepted, everything had gone through. You bought your car, you can't back out of the deal, whatever it is. You can't back out of the deal because offer accepted.
Yeah.
It's a done deal. You can't say, "Oh, no, wait, 3 days later or 10 hours later." You can't go, I didn't mean to offer that. You know what I mean? It doesn't work that way.
No, it doesn't.
And so you have these, and so that's suspicious. The fact of the number of shares was suspicious, even though, technically, I accidentally hit 3-0. You don't put in a big buy for this shit and not look at everything. Okay, is that correct? Is that the amount that we want to put in on this bid, on this buy, right? Okay, is everybody looks good? Everything, okay. You're not relying on one secretary to be, and I don't mean to be derogatory, but your office assistant, whatever, to put that in. For no, you are the hedge fund manager. You are the principal in the investment firm. You're putting in a big, huge thing you're expecting to maybe make some money on. You make sure that bid is put in correctly. That's the amount you want to buy or borrow or whatever it is, however they talk about it. You can't go back on it later and say, oops, I didn't mean to do that amount because now I owe you hundreds of millions of dollars.
Yeah, no, it's
no, sorry, it doesn't work that way, Tiger.
Either way you try to slice it, that sounds like there was some insider trading going on. Yeah, and they got fucked in it, and they're trying to back out of it now.
Yeah, they're trying to backpedal. Last a little bit, and then it talks about that a little bit more, and then we'll be done with this. And I think that gives a little
shares
insight.
of Trump stock before his attempted assassination, but they also shorted 34 million shares of Rumble stock at exactly the same time. I guess if Trump died, Truth Social traffic would go down, as would Rumble, maybe. And I also just want to say it's not like they weren't shorting Trump stock before. Apparently, Trump media had a hard year and it was getting shorted in months previous, but never at this amount or intensity. This was also said to be the biggest short move Austin Private Wealth has ever taken. But the thing is, Trump stock went up 30% post-assassination attempts. So nobody's making any money off their short positions.
Sorry,
I'm
Austin
pretty sure
Private
they're
Wealth.
losing money on this one, bigly. Austin Private Wealth is calling this a clerical error due to third-party software. In a statement, the company said it was a mistake. They meant to short 12,000, not 12 million. That's why they amended their filing, and they said, quote, we filed the report.
They even said 12,000. The next one below that was like 1900. 6 times the amount still, if 12,000 is the number.
Yeah, but if you're looking at it, I mean, that's a lot less that they have to pay back.
Well, of course. They're not saying 1,200. They could have said it was 1,200 because the next highest bid was 1,800 or 1,900.
Because
it was just so 12,000 isn't even way out of whack, but 12 million, it's off the charts.
Yeah.
So they're saying, okay, yeah, we fucked up, but we're going to try to, we'll do the middle amount. They're taking 0 off, and it's just, or 2 zeros, and it's just 12,000, not 12 million.
It doesn't look so bad.
2 or 3 0, whatever. Yeah. But it just keeps going on. Let's finish this up, and then we'll get out of here.
On July 12th to reflect our positions on June 28th. We amended it on July 16th. My question is, even if it was a mistake, how are they allowed to amend a short sale after the stock failed to drop in price? We're just going to file an amendment when insider trading just goes off the wall? And apparently, Austin Private Wealth has never had to file an amendment before. So what do you think, Internet friends? Do you believe this was a clerical error or something else? I think that scriptwriters always knew Biden was going to drop out.
So
they were betting on it, and the ultimate chaos scenario would have happened if Trump was out of the race, too. These folks thrive on chaos.
There's something
That's what I think
weird
the plan
going
was.
on there.
And no, I don't believe anything about the shooter. Obviously, nothing. These people are.
Anyway, isn't that interesting? Throws another little twist in this whole thing that now we have stocks involved with high-powered investment firms
betting on
a failure and a disgusting act of an assassination of a president so that they can make money.
So
what the fuck
what
is
does this
wrong
all
with people, man?
what does this all point to, Barn?
It points to, if you have a brain in your head and you're honest with yourself, something definitely nefarious and something definitely not natural, if you will, going on, that somebody knew something There were things going on. Things were allowed to happen to let this shooter or shooters try to take out Trump, literally take him out, kill him. It would have, well, I think you would have had like a civil war. You thought George Floyd riots were bad.
Oh my God.
Imagine this.
Can
And
you
this is like,
imagine
nobody
what
wants this, people. You don't want
on
to take
the
out Trump.
streets? Oh yeah. It would have been mayhem.
And I don't want to take out Biden either. And I don't want to take out
Yeah.
Pelosi. I can't stand these people, but you know what? I don't want to kill them.
Yeah, but nobody needs to be taken out. You know what I mean?
Or eliminated. Oh, their rhetoric.
Oh my God, the words that they've used are just sick.
Oh, but Trump's the one inciting erections and things like that.
All right, let's wrap this up, brother. Let's wrap this up.
Hey, good chat today. Good talk. Yeah. So I think thanks for everybody for coming out. Please check out the Rude Barn at Etsy, etsy.com/shop/the Rude Barn. We got our shirts and everything up there. Just check it out. There, we got a lot of fun stuff on there. There's a variety of things for everybody, and there's a couple political things on there. There's a couple just fun things on there, and then there's just really cool stuff on there.
And it's fun stuff, and it'll help us. You know what I mean? Provide you with some continued and some better content. You know what I mean? As we go on and as we grow, so it'd be much appreciated. And
yes.
Like, subscribe, tell your friends. We're just getting going, but we have a lot of great ideas. We have a lot of stuff planned for the future. So, stick with us and have a little bit of fun with this. And then, down the line, we'll have some guests on and have some fun stuff. Yeah.
We got the little Against All Odds, the fight shirt. Different things like that on there. There's a lot of stuff. I'm not going to bring them all up right now. We've been on long enough. You guys are going to kill us for staying this long anyway, or hopefully you're still listening. And hopefully we entertained you a little bit. Hopefully we helped you ask some more questions. Try not to be conspiratorial and everything else, but it's just, there's a lot of weird stuff that should be asked that, Matt, you know what? This doesn't make sense. Now this is coming out. Something weird with Crooks, something weird with the supposed extra shooter on the water tower. And now we have this whole insider trading, selling short deal with this Austin private wealth company, buying immense amount of stock options to sell short so they can make a shit ton of money if Trump dies the next day.
Yeah.
And then backtracking on it all. Anyway, it's
pretty disgusting stuff.
And I hope when you talk to friends who agree or disagree with you that you can at least bring up questions and say, well, don't you think that's a little odd? I don't want anybody to die. I don't want this country to go into a civil war because a political opponent was taken out by this current administration who wants to stay in power. Nobody wants that. We're not a third world country. We're not Venezuela. We're not Iran. We're not North Korea. We're not Russia. You put any country in there who wants to stay in power. This is what they do. Their opposition, and we can't have that in this country. It's not who we are as Americans.
Yeah. But in short, question everything, gang.
Yep.
And don't be afraid to have your voice heard. You know what I mean?
Again, we love you all, and we want everybody to prosper in this world. And our way of doing it might be a different way than yours, but it's certainly not worth killing somebody over and going derangement syndrome like that girl and De Niro and people like that. It's like, stop, you guys, stop. Just calm down. It's not the end of the world. Shit is not going to happen like you've been told. Nancy Pelosi is lying to you. So
you got to wake up from the trance, y'all.
Yep. All right. Thanks for watching, you guys. Check out our next podcast. Again, go to etsy.com/shop/the Rude Barn. Check out our merchandise. Anything you can do to help us to keep on the air would be great. We'd love to keep doing more and more podcasts for you. And hopefully we entertain you a little bit along the way and help you ask some questions and show you stuff maybe you haven't seen before and give you a point of view maybe you haven't heard before. So thanks again for checking us out. We'll look for you next time.
Thanks for watching, gang.
See ya.